Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I'm pleased to have Gavin Rothenberg. He's a lacrosse player for Staples for the Wreckers. And Gavin, I appreciate you coming on, man. This should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be on here. Excited for it.
I heard a lot about you before the game from a good friend of mine who's a football coach for the Staple Wreckers, and he was telling me kind of about your story and just how you dealt with a severe injury last year. Can you kind of just highlight that a little bit for people? Because I mentioned it during the broadcast in your championship game against St. Bernard, but maybe just kind of refresh the memory for some people.
Yeah, so the injury actually was more recent. It was this past basketball season. Um, this past year in I wouldn't say midway through the year, but probably 6 or 7 games into the year, I broke my wrist in a game against Danbury in the season, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to come back and play at all the rest of the season. I knew I had to be in a cast for 4 weeks and watch from the side and continue to have my responsibilities as a captain to help my team out, to be there for my teammates, to fill that role. Having the duty, obviously, as a captain, there's a lot that you're responsible for. And then I was able to get my cast off, and my wrist healed really, really well. And I was able to work really hard to get back as soon as I can. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get back at all, but I was working on strengthening it going in before school to shoot, to just continue to strengthen my wrist. And I was able to be cleared right before the first FCIAC game against Wilton. So my first game back was the Wilton FCIAC quarterfinal at Ward. And then obviously we were able to go on that run. And I really felt like I just went right back into the flow of things. It was an awesome playoff run. And sure, maybe first time I checked in that Wilton game, it felt a little bit off because I hadn't been on the court in a couple months. But my teammates were there for me, my coaches were there for me, and I was ready in practice for what was to come in the game. And we went on that amazing run, and I was able to heal my wrist and get back to full strength and get back on the court.
When you were away, as far as not being on the court, and I'm sure you went to a lot of the games when you were able to, when you weren't trying to get back from your injury. Um, did you almost feel like, in a way, when you got back, because you said you came back in the quarterfinal, in the FCIAC tournament, did you almost feel like that, not to say you took it for granted as far as when you played, in previous years, but, and also too, with it being your senior year, that you really kind of cherished every moment that you had because you didn't know how many games that you had left?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt. When I first had that injury and didn't know if I was going to be back or not, immediately I thought about all the times, not even just in games, in practice, every single moment I had with my teammates playing basketball in general. I thought about all those moments that I really valued, that I really take in those moments. And then to have that injury and then to be able to come back and not only just be able to play, but to be able to play on so many amazing stages in front of amazing fans with my team. Every single moment I truly just took in, and it felt like an amazing blessing to be able to be out there and be playing regardless of the result. I know our team had a lot of success and that was amazing. Regardless of the result, though, I felt just amazing to be back out on the court and playing.
I gotta ask because you guys were able to beat a team that I've seen quite a bit because I broadcast in the NVL. You handled Holy Cross very well, and you guys contained Elijah Parker to very minimal damage. How were you able to contain that Holy Cross team so well? Because not many teams could in the NVL.
Yeah, they're a great team. Elijah Parker's a really, really great player, and we spent a lot of time preparing for that game, getting ready to play in a smaller gym like that against a running team that likes to push it in transition. And we had as you know, Coach Goltro, this was his first year. We brought in Coach Devine for practice, the previous coach, and he was able to teach us a zone that we were able to run for that game. And we ran it a lot in the game. We mixed it up. We played man and we played some zone, but a zone where we had Chris at the top of the key, as I'm sure you saw. And he was able to get out there, and he was the one able to cover Elijah Parker, be able to stop the penetration there. And really the main thing that was needed was for our guards to be physical and boxing out, because for the majority of that game, we ended up going 4 guards and Chris. And so Chris was out on the perimeter. We were able to kind of stop the penetration from there, force them to take shots that we want them to take and have to box out. And the game plan was able to work to perfection pretty much.
Yeah, it worked out well because I mean the way that you were able to dominate Holy Cross. I mean, when I was hearing people tell me that like Holy Cross had no answer, and that usually didn't happen very much in the NBL, as far as them are concerned. Now you guys were able to really find a path. You know, you played Ward in the semifinal of the tournament, as far as for states are concerned. Um, just talk to me about kind of that game because I almost felt like it was almost like two games for you guys because you guys were down, and then you make the what probably is a once in what maybe every 10 years as far as a comeback as what you guys did.
Yeah. I mean, they were a great team. They beat us earlier in the regular season on our home court. I was still injured at that point, and then coming back, we played them at West Hill in the semifinal. And the thing about them is they're very big. They're physical. They have big guards. Jack Plesser, obviously the FCIAC Player of the Year. He's an amazing player, and they they really dictated the game for those 3.5 quarters. We weren't really able to get what we want on offense. They were able to get rebounds. Our shots weren't falling. For me personally, my shots weren't falling. I think going before leading up to that run, I think I was 0 for 6 from three. Just couldn't get a shot to fall. But in the timeouts, my coach is telling me keep shooting. They're gonna fall. They're gonna hit. It really did kind of feel like two games we were getting beat for that long. Cody knocked down that three to put it to 14, and we put in the press, and they really couldn't handle our pressure. We had a really nice lineup in there that was intense, that dictated the flow of the game. Our fans started getting into the game. The whole environment just started changing to our favor, and that's when we were able to just start hitting shots. Everything felt better. Everyone was able to start hitting shots, and we were feeling like the team that we know we always are.
As the game started to, when you guys were starting to make that comeback, for you specifically, at what point was it when you were down by only 5, 4, 3, whatever the case may be? What was the number of which you felt like we're going to win this game? Was it when you were
Yeah.
down, or was it right after when you guys had the takeaway on the inbounds pass?
Yeah, honestly, it was a back and forth feeling. Obviously, it was tough to of course we believed we could win. It was tough when we were down 14. We ended up going on that run. We cut it to 7. We were in it. We cut it to 2, I believe, and then they got a basket, put it at 4. We turned it over, and I thought maybe they were gonna have it then, but then we got a steal. Cody got that and one layup. We were down 1. And from there, I really never wavered in my belief. I fully believe we were going to win the game. They ended up going 5 again. I think I hit a 3. We cut it to 2. It was back and forth, back and forth. And honestly, I know it's hard to believe, but we got that stop to put into overtime, and then they had the ball again. And I truly knew that Adam was going to make a play there. I felt it in the bottom of my heart. I knew that Adam was going out there confident, ready to make a play. He's an athletic kid, and he was built for that moment. And I knew he was ready to go out there and make a play and win that game for us.
Talk to me about your experience, man, being at Mohegan. I know broadcasting in the spot that we were for NFHS was epic. It's I mean, I've always said we have the best seat in the house other than for the players of which you're sitting on the bench or playing as you were. But just, when I think about the history, because I remember my broadcast partner was telling me how long it's been since I think Staples had appeared in a championship game. Maybe have won it. I could be wrong, but I know it was a long, long time. Just talk to me about kind of that experience for you and the rest of the team because it had to be epic.
Yeah, the last time Staples was in the state championship, I believe we won it in 1937, I think. And so yeah, really, really long time. And the experience was everything I wished it could have been. I mean, I really do feel like looking back at it, I did cherish every moment I had with my teammates, going from getting off the bus and walking up a tunnel, feeling like an NBA player, like walking into the arena, to the sitting in the stands watching the game before us, to going in the locker room getting ready for the game, and then the whole warm up, being in the arena. Something I talk about with my teammates is how awesome that national anthem felt. They dimmed the lights and the camera guys, were filming us, and it really felt like we earned that moment. And that was something I really took in, just to be able to close my eyes, take a deep breath during the national anthem, and realize that I'm here with my best friends in the world, ready to play in front of a huge stage and on a huge stage in front of thousands of people. I would not pass up that experience for anything, truly.
And even though it came just short for you guys, I felt like it was a fantastic season and one that will never be forgotten. And hopefully, Stables can find a way to be able to, and even though it won't be during your class or your year, maybe they'll be able to kind of get over that hump and being able to win that title. Now you're able to play one more sport before you graduate, and that's lacrosse, and that's a game that's really, I've believed over the last, I'd say 8 years, but probably even more in Connecticut, if I ask coaches who coach lacrosse, that the game is really growing in a lot of ways. And you're going to college to play lacrosse. You're going to Colby, a part of the NESCAC. Um, do you feel like in some ways that you'll get that urge to play basketball? Obviously not at the college level, unless you, if you do, that's great. But do you feel like in some ways you'll miss playing that game of basketball just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that I'll miss playing basketball. I feel like even in the years leading up to this year, I could have. I've always loved basketball, but it just felt like this senior season was something I've never experienced before playing that sport. Being a captain alongside of three of my best friends that were also the captains, that were meaningful players in the team. The guys in the team were all super, super close, and I'm definitely gonna miss playing basketball. It was an awesome season though, and I know that if I were to go out anyway, it'd be playing the way we did. And while my basketball career may be over at this point, um, my eyes are on the cross season now, and I'm ready to go out and accomplish a goal with another great group of guys who are also close, who are also ready to achieve something great. And so after basketball ended, I was able to have a day to just like reflect on everything without having to jump right into lacrosse right away. Although the season is getting started, just to be able to really reflect and have closure on my basketball career. Because while it was sad that it was over, and I was reminiscing on the times through youth basketball all the way up to now, I couldn't be more happy with how my career ended up closing out.
And how's the lacrosse practice been so far? I know you were telling me that games start up in just a couple days. I know scrimmages were going, happening and such. So how's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been great. Kind of transitioning from basketball to lacrosse. In some ways a little weird, but a lot of the same movements are there, the same lateral movements, the same IQ, having a feel for the game. And I've been able to get back out there. We've been able to have scrimmages. The team is looking great. I know we had a great senior class last year, the class of 2022. So there's a lot of younger guys too that are getting opportunities this year. And there's plenty of returning guys that were on the field last year. It's a really great group of guys. Practice has been going great, and we're really getting ready for the season, preparing for accomplishing all the goals we want to accomplish with a really tough schedule this year, which we're excited for.
How tough is it for you, man? And if this is a dumb question, I apologize, but how tough is it for, again, with you being a senior and then also playing a sport that I know you mentioned as far as the group of guys and such that you'll be along for your final, ride being with Staples. How hard is it to not count down, not so much count down the days, but be like, dang, this is my last first practice of the season. This is my last home game because of senior night, or regardless if it's the last game in the state championship or during a state run, whatever, like I won't be putting on the Staple Records lacrosse uniform anymore.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I will have those thoughts, that all the guys will have those thoughts, and it'd be wrong to deny that. But I think in some ways it's bittersweet. Obviously, it's tough that it's going to be the last time we do those things, but I think it just motivates us that much more to not only value that time we have, but to go that much harder to make it so when we look back at it, we feel like we emptied the gas tank. We feel like we left everything out on the field, and know that we did everything we could to achieve everything we wanted to. And of course, it's going to suck the last time I step out on the field with those guys for lacrosse, and the last time I put on a Staples uniform. But if we can put everything that we can into the season for however many months the season is, and end up the last day I put on a Staples uniform winning a state championship, then I know that there's nothing else I could have done to help the team succeed. And all of those guys collectively having that thinking, coming together as one to be able to do that, there's really no limitations that you could put on us.
Gavin, I appreciate you so much being able to come on. A lot of fun being able to talk with you. Best of luck this lacrosse season, and hopefully you'll be able to get to that championship game and being able for the last time wear that Rutgers uniform, but know that you're getting a ring on top of that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Always. I'll wrap things up here on the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm returning. Find them all. Enjoy their shit, everybody, and be well.